Good morning, everybody. This is Dory Ransom here with Be Great, aligning business strategy with soul and spirit. And we're here today for speaker training number 6. Tara Ledoux's with us, Elena Lipson, and Annie Anderson. And you guys all get a really special treat because Elena has agreed to be our resident expert this morning, and she's going to help us with breath work. So I'm just going to hand it right on over to Elena.
Awesome.
Thanks, Elena.
Thank you, Dory. So I've been breathing for a really long time, since I was born.
Perfect.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And may it continue in future.
And the reason why I agreed, or I don't even know how the conversation happened, but somehow I landed here. So the reason I do this is because I know to be true, breath can really change your entire physiology in the moment. I've done things that have been very edgy and made me very nervous. And I think one of the reasons, you get through that well is through breath work. And so I've studied breath work through my yoga training. I've studied breath work on my own because I've seen how it changes my own in the moment physiology of being nervous. I used to do this thing where I've been a corporate trainer for a while as well, a couple of years and years. And they videotaped me the first time I did it, which was awesome because I could see myself doing it. I mean, I've been videotaped even back at university where I took drama, and they would videotape you, speaking. And I've been studying speaking for a long time. And the first time they videotaped me doing it at this company, they did it for their own records and just to have it on tape for the people who weren't there at the meeting. And I literally turned red, like from here. It was like this thing that started happening to me. And I didn't like it. So I could feel that sort of bubbling energy coming up. And instead of working with it, I felt like it was coming up through the top of my head, and it made me really hot and nervous, and it distracted me from what I was saying. And a lot of that was just the beginning, the newness of speaking in front of, I had like the owner of the company there and all the managers. So the level of people that were listening to me were very intimidating. But also it was the first time I was teaching this course I had just developed. So there was a lot of things to make me nervous, and my body was reacting to it. Even though I knew the content, I practiced it, I knew it really, really well, my body was still really nervous. So if you've ever seen anyone speak on stage with a paper and they look really calm and they're speaking, but the hands are shaking like this, it's just a natural physiological reaction. So I think a lot of the things that I've learned through yoga breath work can really be adapted to help you prepare in a couple of ways. So the first way it'll help you prepare is as you're practicing to pace yourself, and breath can really help you create those natural pauses instead of filling it with ums and ahs and you can sort of trick yourself by still having those pauses and not filling them with fillers, but really filling them with breath. So if I were to demonstrate what that would sound like, it would just be like, hi, my name is Elena Lipson, and I'm a Divine Self-Care Mentor, and I'm so happy to be here, versus, hi, my name is Elena Lipson. I'm a Divine Self-Care Mentor, and I'm so happy to be here today. Today we're going to talk about, I'm showing you my breath kind of consciously. I wouldn't breathe that heavy if I was on speaking, but that's the difference. If you can pace your speaking versus what I just did. So before I share some specific exercises and specific breaths to calm yourself before, during, and after you're speaking without the use of alcohol, and using breath work instead, what questions do you have? Like when you thought you were going to be hearing about breath work and breathing for speaking, what questions do you guys have that I can help to address while I'm speaking to make sure I don't miss them? I'm going to write them down. So tell me what you guys were thinking in terms of breath work, maybe what you already know, so I can help take it to the next level too.
Well, the first rule is to actually breathe.
Permission to breathe, granted.
Thank you.
I don't have any clues. Whatever.
Okay. Do you have anything that you currently do when you're entering a situation that's a little bit more anxious or could be nerve-inducing?
Just to really take, a deep breath or two and, kind of center and ground myself.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
One of the things I do is pay attention to my breath, so that if I'm starting to feel a little anxious, I just come into myself, and that's how I do it is, okay, I'm now breathing. Yep. And that's just a great way to refocus and ground quickly.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. What about you, Tara?
Um, I joined, oh, someone else has joined us today. That's awesome. So I joined Toastmasters just a few months ago, and going through that it's perfect practice for Be Great. Absolutely. And I do notice the nights that I am presenting, as my time to speak and to present starts to come, I'll start getting really agitated in my body. I have a lot of trouble sitting still. So giving myself a focus on my breath will lessen that. It has not yet made it totally controllable, but certainly it will help me stay in my chair, stay in my seat, stay in my body. But it's a challenge. I'm really glad that I'm having this opportunity to get up in front of people and practice, because it's very challenging to
It is very challenging.
right before you speak.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, so do you have any specific type of breathing that you've done in those situations where you need to find balance and presence and get grounded?
I would say similar to Annie. It's a very simple, intuitive practice of feeling my seat in the chair, breathing into my belly, really focusing on bringing the breath into the belly, big, full belly breaths, like really into your body.
Right. All right, we're done. That's it. Belly breaths. We got it.
Okay. Bye. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Elena Lipson here.
So I think we all know how to breathe, and obviously I'm not going to teach or reteach anyone how to breathe, but there are a few types of breath that help you to activate your parasympathetic nervous system, to let your brain know to calm down. And if you've taken any yoga classes, you know there is a big focus on the ujjayi breath, which is from the back of the throat, which helps you to not only concentrate and stay present, but also it allows your breath to slow down a little bit, which a lot of us breathe too quickly. A lot of us breathe from up here on the upper level of our lungs, and that actually stimulates more anxiety. The belly breath, Tara, is the biggest thing. And the funny thing is, I remember doing this in the yoga group. There was 21 women, and I mean, we couldn't. Some of the women couldn't get their hand to rise on their belly to take a deep enough belly breath, because we don't breathe deeply enough all day. We end up, if you start getting conscious of it, breathe like really slow and not shallow and not deep. So one of the tricks that I would recommend to get in touch with what a belly breath even is to lay on the floor on your belly, on the ground, with your head to the side, and allow yourself to breathe in and out. And what should happen is, on an inhale, your body should actually rise a little bit because your belly is filling up. And you don't even have to try. When you're laying down that way with your belly on the ground, you don't even have to try to do it. It just happens. And when you exhale, it should empty and become hollow. So that will give you the feeling of that belly breath that you should have when you're trying to breathe, and you can do it sitting up. The other trick that I like to do in terms of modulating my breath and really getting calm and allowing myself to take really deep breaths is doing a 4x4x4x4. Just quickly call it the 4x4 breath. And it's one that I learned years ago, and it helps to modulate yourself and take deeper breaths than you might have otherwise. And when you get comfortable with the 4x4, you can go to like 4x7. I'll demonstrate it and show you what it looks like. Your exhale could actually be deeper and slower than your inhale because you're taking in a lot. So it would look like this. And if you guys want to follow along with me, we're going to do the 4x4 first. And it'll look like 4 in, hold, 4 out, hold. And I want you to just pay attention to what happens in your sort of like your brain area and also your heart area. See what happens, if anything happens. I'm not saying something will happen, but just notice what could happen if you start breathing that way. So let's all do it together at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Now put your hand on your belly the next time and try to breathe into your hand. In through your nose. Now hold. 2, 3, 4, and try to get it right into your hand and your lower belly now. 1, 2, 3, 4. In, hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out through your mouth, and your hand should be lowering on your belly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, how was that for you guys? Tara, how was that for you?
I'm glad you reminded me of this because I do it quite often, and it's interesting to breathe with someone else and share the energy and sort of fight your own natural rhythm. But it's also kind of great because it's distracted me from everything outside and brought me exactly within.
Awesome. Okay, Annie, how about for you? Did you like that? Did you notice anything?
I think that's really kind of how I naturally breathe anyway. So it was really, yeah.
You hold at the top and the bottom like that?
Yeah.
Good.
Especially when I am talking. Because as a coach, I talk a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. What about you, Dory? I know you had to stop halfway through, but the first two, how were those for you?
I just love that bringing it in, and like it kind of gets warm. Like I feel like my brain getting warm.
Yeah.
And I feel my stomach and heart area, like just the energy. I feel I recognize that there is energy there. It becomes very obvious.
Right.
There is something more going on.
I love that. Okay, so that's the first one, the 4x4. And again, you can play with the numbers on that, but the point is and if you put your hand on your belly, you'll start to notice that, well, first of all, your limbic system is getting activated, so you're calming any fight or flight response. Like right now, we're not nervous, we're here, we're just talking, it's fine. But when it really counts, if you have a breathing practice, a conscious breathing practice, it's in those moments as a parent, as when you're like, oh God, or even when you're finding yourself, like for me, I actually practice this when I wake up in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. thinking, oh my God, what the hell did I just say I was going to do? And oh my God, I'm speaking on stage. And that little bit of anxiety that can happen, I actually do this in the middle of the night in bed. I actually do my 4x4 breaths on my stomach, or the next one that I'm going to show you, which is alternate nostril breathing, which actually does reduce your fight or flight. It actually takes you back to full relaxation.
I love that one. I love just saying naughty Shadna. You're so naughty.
Naughty Shadana. Right. So nostril breathing. There is a specific way you hold your hand that has meaning when you're doing this, but you can really do a simple version of it. And all it is in through one side, hold, out through the other, in through the other side, and hold. So it'll be like in through your left, breathing all the way to the top while you're holding your right nostril.
Oh no.
And then holding it and then closing your left nostril. You're holding your left and then breathing out through your left. So you're flipping your fingers. If you guys are watching this on video, you're flipping your fingers back and forth as you're breathing. That's a simple way to do it. If you want to add energy to it, you put your fingers on your third eye chakra and imagine your breath going up to that energy center and then coming back down. So if you just imagine like a little bit of a triangle coming up, and in that yoga intensive, she had us do it without our hands just to visualize it happening. And it was fascinating that you can actually feel the breath going back and forth, which goes to show the power of our intention and the power of our mind. So this is a really, really good one to do, especially right before you go on stage, because it actually will help your system to not do this. Even though like your hands are actually shaking because you're processing adrenaline. Adrenaline's rushing through your body because you're about to go on stage and do something, happens before you go on a roller coaster, right? It's just your body's reaction. So you're don't let your hands betray you, right? You can actually, a little side trick, because I have spoken in front of people that made me very, very nervous, is you can hold something heavier under your paper and it won't shake. If you're just holding paper, it will shake. If you're holding a book on paper, even if you're nervous, the likelihood of it shaking is much less. If you need to hold something, if you're holding notes. So Nadi Shodhana breathing, you can actually look it up too. It's a yoga breath. Again, so it's you hold your hands, you have just the availability of your pinky on your left side and your thumb on your right. And so if I were to do it right now, I would breathe in through my left, hold, switch, out through my right, in through my right, switch, out through my left. So that's Nadi Shodhana breathing, Nadi Shodhana breathing, alternate nostril breathing. You can look it up and watch videos of it as well if you want more like in depth. You can do it for anywhere from 30 seconds up to 2 to 5 minutes, and you will begin to feel your body actually relax. You're going to slow your heartbeat down. Your heartbeat will speed up with adrenaline. So that's a really powerful one to do before you go on stage. And even practice it before you actually practice your speech. So your body gets used to relaxing before you're speaking. Right? So that's another one. So we've got
throw in with that one, you guys, it's also very healing. So if you like that practice and you wanted to take it up to 20 minutes a day, you'd be surprised at the health benefits that you would see. It's completely getting rid of some pretty significant challenges, especially as women. So
absolutely. And it activates your intuitive energy center. So if you want more like psychic experiences and knowings in your body, it's a really important one to do as well. There's a ton of yoga breathing exercises, from fire belly breath to, hand on belly. There's several of them. I actually have them in my yoga teaching notes, but that's the one I still do consistently, especially when I'm feeling like that. And I actually do that before I practice yoga as well, to sort of clear your system. It's a really powerful one to do. And I know, Tara, do you teach yoga, right?
I do teach yoga.
So you probably have a breadth of yoga breath exercises. Maybe when I have one more to share, and then maybe you can share one or two that you really love. That would be powerful for you as well, if you're open to it.
Well, I'll see if you might already cover my favorites, because alternate nostril and my little one came home from school talking about the 4x4 breath that she called square breathing.
Sweet. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah,
and again, you can extend it.
11 at the time. She's like, that's totally stupid. I'm like, actually, it's science and it works.
Right. Absolutely. Oh my God, it's totally science. Okay, so I have two more things I want to share. Well, I mean, you could share more, but I think if you just choose one that really resonates with you and do it, you can't go wrong. You'll just do one that feels good in your body, and you'll continue to breathe. And there's a consciousness that comes with breath too, where it invites sort of spirit and presence and grounding. So even if you just take time to pause throughout the day to breathe, it'll bring you that sense of calm and peace. But specifically related to your speaking, practice breathing, in different ways while you're speaking. Give yourself a chance to pause, because I noticed when I started videotaping myself that I did this thing where, well, first I talked nonstop and I didn't have anywhere to edit. I was sharing this in our last week's call. I would speak and speak and speak and speak and speak and speak literally like this nonstop. And I didn't have anywhere that I can cut and insert words or edit or transition, nothing, or even edit something out because I didn't like it. So I was consciously then pausing, breathing, speaking more like I would to a normal human being, right? That would have a conversation, asking questions, pausing, learning to be okay with silence. You can fill that with breath. The other thing that breath does is actually empower your speaking voice. So the belly breath does more than bring oxygen into your body. It actually also gives your voice a deeper resonance. So it's really important to play with videotaping yourself before, just breathing regularly, and then stopping, and then taking a good dozen belly breaths really deep into your belly and feeling your belly rise, and then seeing if it changes your voice. Because whether you're on a speaker or not, if your voice sounds tight and constrained, your words are going to be tight and constrained, and your message is going to be tight and constrained. And my husband tells me, use your big girl voice. And I know that I'm constraining. He's like, come on, use your big girl voice. I mean, jokefully. But I realize that I'm constraining, and speaking from my nose and I'm speaking from like this place right here and not from my belly. And you can tell when a singer is singing from their deepest like belly versus right here, because it's so tight and constrained, right? We're not little girls. We're like women who have voices, right? So that's what breath work can do for you, is really give your voice a resonance if you practice it and you want to project it to the back of the room. You want to be able to, if the power goes out in that room, you still want to give your speech, because you know power goes out around here, as we all learn, right? So you want to still be able to stand up there and speak to the person in the back, not just the front row. So practice that resonance of voice and see if someone standing across a large space can still hear you. And the breath work really does help with that. So the two other breath work options, one is called a yoni breath, which I learned somewhere along the way, but I love. And the reason it's important, if we all know what yoni is, the Sanskrit word for vagina, right? So yoni breath. It's a fun way to activate energy in your body. So before you breathe, before you speak on stage, if you want to ignite and invite, energy to be activated in your body, you can try. And what I like to do when I do this is you close your eyes and you allow yourself to start breathing deeply in through your nose and out through your mouth. And then envision that breath coming through your yoni and up to through your energy centers and up through the crown of your head and then back down. And I'm just going to pause for a second, allow you to do that and see what it feels like.
It just ignites so much more of your body.
Doesn't it just totally give you the chills?
Yeah, I just making like
you could totally
my vision of divine feminine is not just this beautiful hearth energy. There's the Kali, the destroyer, the ultimate power energy, and it feels like I'm really drawing that up through my whole system.
Yes, it feels activating to me too. It feels like that empowering. And so there's a very deep connection between your throat chakra and your root chakra. There's a physical connection between straining and holding tight in your pelvic region and your everything, that whole area, and your throat. So the more you can open yourself in your root chakra physically and energetically, the more your power can come through your throat. During childbirth, it's a really deep connection. So, the ancient women would, and roar. Women today, I've seen this personally with women I know, they're like, not everyone, listen, this is like the empowered, woman who can speak up and roar will roar when she needs to, even energetically, not loud. You don't have to be loud to roar. You can roar in your presence. So that yoni breath is one of those things that will open you and activate, even bring consciousness to the fact that you can. It actually feels like you're doing it because our mind is so powerful. So that's a really powerful breath to activate energy, to, infuse your speech, your talk with energy as well. Because if your body's activated and you're lit up, it's going to show when you speak. And that could be just a quiet presence, but the energy of it will still come through. So the yoni breath is another one that's really fun and playful and igniting to the feminine, as Tara said, for sure. Mm-hmm. And then the final one that I want to share is really similar to the 4x4. It really doesn't need to have a number associated with it, but it also connects with loosening up your throat chakra and bringing energy to it, really activating it. For those of us who do need activating in our throat chakra, for me, it's one of my main chakras that I used to get laryngitis all the time, even before I had to do something. So if we're getting closer to October and it's Be Great and you find yourself getting sore throats, this is a really powerful one to do. So all you have to do is breathe in through your nose. And as you breathe out, just hum. And you can just kind of feel it starts to wiggle the energy in it. And that's a good one to do for at least a minute. So you get a good at least 6, 7, 8 breaths in. So that one is good before you're practicing your speech, before even when you wake up in the morning, before you're going on camera, before you're doing an interview. that's a really good one to do as well. So those are the main breaths. We can really continue. There's a lot of really amazing breath. I mean, if you even just Google breath work, there is a ton of stuff that comes up, some good, some terrible, some amazing. These are the ones that I do throughout my life, whether I'm prepping for, coaching or to speak on video. I want to make sure that my energy is good. Even just the basic 4x4 breath will really allow you to just be present, because breath is presence. When you're here, you're now. That's why meditation is simple. It's breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out. And that's your point of focus. It really connects you to your presence, your spirit. It connects you to intuition. And if you are speaking and you forget what you're going to say, take a deep breath, put your hand on your heart and speak it. So one of the first conferences I went to as an online entrepreneur was this woman named Verinda Normand, and it was a really great conference. I met a lot of amazing people there, but one of the main takeaways there was she had at the very end, we were all practicing doing our thing and networking and, giving our irresistible messaging in 30 seconds. And it was really challenging, right? You can imagine, what do you do? I'm a coach. What do you do? And, you want to do it in a way where people remember. So what at the very end, she invited someone on stage, and I almost raised my hand, but I didn't. This other woman went up, I'm so glad she did, because it was so poignant. And it was she was very talkative and very out there, very unique in what she did in her coaching. And she went on stage and the lights were low and there was a spotlight on her. And Verinda was like, okay, Stephanie, what do you do? And she's like, I'm a life coach and I help women, da, 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 da. And everyone's like, okay. She's like, okay, try that again. What do you do? She's like, oh. And then her fears came up because she was being pushed, right? So she just sort of, I do this, I do this, I do this. And she's like, okay, all right, hold on. She's like, close your eyes, take a deep breath, take another, be present, put your hand on your heart. What do you do? And I could just cry thinking about it, because I think everyone felt what she was feeling, because everything just fell away. And I don't even know what she said, honestly, the next 2 minutes. But whatever she said was so unscripted. It was so present, and it was so lit up. There were tears on everyone's faces, on her face. And it was like applause erupted afterwards. And I was like, shit, that was good. And I remember that. It didn't take any practice. It just took her showing up. So if you can marry that kind of presence and trust with what you really want to say, I mean, it just is so powerful. And I believe that what she helped her do in that moment is get present through breath and through grounding and through the work that she'd already done to prepare, and it just exploded. So I think, that type of presence can really change. I mean, I'm talking about it now, and it happened, 2.5 years ago, and it's still living with me. So you can really plant seeds for people with presence, and breath work can really help that. So any questions, any thoughts, reflections, feedback in your own?
Just when you were talking about that experience, I remember you've told me that story before, and I get choked up. Like, I get emotional just picturing her experience and then her ability to get real. Because think about what that looks like for each one of us. If we can stand in our power, stand in alignment, shed that shit. And, we're all coaches in some way, but we're all so different. If we can tap into that passion and our power and bring that out on stage, and nothing's going to stop us. Mm-hmm. Success is going to just skyrocket for us because of that. And I just felt her. I felt you. I felt your experience with her. Mm. And wow. Wow.
It was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't even need to know what the story was, because just that is enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it changed her. And she walked off that stage a different person. I guarantee you. She was totally like, wow, I can stand in my power in front of a room full of people and say what I need to say and show up. And she was changed by it for sure. I still think about it. Like in that specific moment, that energy, I can feel it, because it was such a real moment of just all the bullshit falling away. And she's like, this is what I do. And owning it and like claiming it, right? So
yes, I love it. I love it.
So the yoni breath is my favorite, I have to say. It's empowering, but they all work really well. The hum breath, the 4x4, and the nadi shodhana breathing are all really powerful breaths. And find one of your own, just as long as you do have a breathing exercise. And if you can't connect to that belly breath, for sure, lay on the ground, head to the side, and just take some nice deep breaths all the way into your belly. And you can feel what that feels like, and then carry that feeling energetically into standing up so you can do it. Because if you don't breathe, if you don't fill up all the, little tendrils and all the little, whatever they're called, villi in your lungs all the way to the bottom, then they'll get used to that shallow breathing. You have to train them to take in air that deeply. And then again, it really does, it affects the way your voice resonates on camera, on stage, to somebody. The way you say it is so much more important than what it is you're saying sometimes. So people will listen.
Yeah, breathing is powerful. I do a meditation quite frequently that it's a guided meditation that's breathe into different parts of your body, and it goes through the whole, like from your right foot up and back down. And it's amazing how it really feels like I am really breathing into my right foot. Mm-hmm. I feel that energy there. And practicing that, like really how powerful our breath is. And my favorites are, I love doing that. I mean, that's like a 20-minute really getting deep into some meditation. But the nadi breathing, if I have just taking 10 minutes at night, if it's been a really crazy day, and just really focusing on that. And I visualize myself on top of a mountain with vast, incredible views and a light breeze that feels good. And that's me on top of the mountain, getting grounded, feeling powerful. It's wow. Yes. All of these ideas that you've shared with us, or all these tools, they're not ideas, they're tools.
Right.
We can implement them and use them. And sometimes one works better at a different time, but just reminding ourselves that we are here, that we need to breathe, and that there's better ways of breathing than we often, we just take it for granted, and we do get so shallow. And the deeper we can go, the more fulfilled that more fulfilling of a life experience we are going to have, whether it's on stage or just living a daily life, a normal daily life. So
it's conscious. It's bringing consciousness to that breath for sure. Like even if you're ordering your sandwich, it's like, I want this. I think for women especially, and it is a path and it's a journey. And I know we're not born this evolved, beautiful, evolved spiritual creature. We all take our time, and voice for me has been a big thing, and I teach it quite a bit. And even the quality of your voice, the rhythm of your voice, the way someone chooses to listen to your video or not. And I've, the message that I've heard over the last several years is you need to record your meditations and sell them because your voice. And I'm like, wow, my voice. I've been working on my voice for years, not only the energetic voice, like what I really want to say, but also the quality of my voice. So I feel like it's hitting this point where I hear it, like I get it. Okay, I need to record meditations, but it's not an accident. I've really been working on, being present enough to say what I want to say, breathing into my body, having that confidence to say what I need to say. And then as you were speaking, Joy, another breath came up for me that I think might be really useful and fun. And probably Tara, I'm sure probably all of us, is the lion's breath in yoga. And that's a really great one to stay playful, to call in your powerful warrior speaker, if that's who you're igniting. And it looks really funny, and I might have coffee tongue. Who cares? So you basically take a nice deep breath in. And it's like that Maori warrior.
Important. I want you to know that the tongue is very important.
Right, you shake that tongue around. It's true, and it just loosens all of it up. It loosens your energy up, and it gets you playful. That's another good one I like to do just throughout the day. Sometimes with my son, I'm like, "Come on, let's roar!" It's really playful and fun. It just loosens it up. You can just feel it if you're doing it. And Annie, did I do it? Come on, do it.
Do it, Annie. Come on.
Like, no, I don't want to. Okay.
Annie. No. Okay.
Annie, your energy is very, very calm today.
Subdued.
Subdued.
I feel it too.
Yeah.
I
I didn't get much sleep last night.
That'll do it. That'll do it.
Well, Elena, I want to come back to one of the things that you were talking about with finding your voice. And for me too, I mean, it's been a struggle finding my voice, speaking up for myself. And we have a girl living with us now from Spain. She's a foreign exchange student, and she's so darling. And the other night, the night of the storm, she didn't want to stay in her room. It's downstairs in the back. And she's like, oh, I'm too scared. And so we brought in a mattress and put it on the floor in our room. And I was like, oh God, you know, just, okay, that's messing with my energy. And of course I'm going to support her in what she needs. But what if I have to get up in the middle of the night? And so of course I woke up and I needed to go to the bathroom. And in the past, I would have just stayed in bed because I didn't want to speak up. And what if I woke her up? And I was more concerned about her than I was about me. And I did some deep breathing. Like I put my hand on my belly. And I did that about probably 5 or 6 times. I'm like, it's all right. If she wakes up, she will go back to sleep. You have to pee. I mean, this was at 1:00 in the morning. Could I have made it until 6 or 7? So breathing, getting into my power. I sat up. Okay. All right. It's all right. And I tiptoed past her. She never woke up. It was totally fine. But in the past, I would not have done that. You know, I'm 48 years old and learning about my Capri and learning about my voice and how much I matter, and really noticing how much I have ignored that.
Yeah.
How much I have pushed that aside.
Yep.
Yes. So breathing is one more way that we can really get in touch with what we need and acknowledge that it's all right to go pee in the middle of the night, no matter who's in the room with you.
Yeah, like we don't want to inconvenience other people by, you know, meeting our own needs, right? I mean, that's the work that I do in the world is giving permission to people to, hey Tara, to meet your own needs, knowing that it's okay. It's okay if someone's inconvenienced, because how many times have we been okay with being inconvenienced for someone else?
Right.
Joyfully.
Right.
Of course, I'll do that for you, even if I don't have to eat lunch today. You know, like a theme, not that exact thing, but it's okay to inconvenience someone. It's okay to disappoint someone. It's okay to do all that, and to take the time that you need to take a deep breath, make a decision. And here's a really good one. This is a conversation I've had quite a bit, is just because someone asks you a question on their timeline doesn't mean you need to answer it on their timeline. You can say, I need to take some deep breaths and take some time to really think about this, because not everybody makes good decisions in the moment.
You've been having that conversation with Candace, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. With lots of women in my life, this is who I attract, right? It's like the people who need to learn that. And I get attracted to people who I need to learn things from, for sure. And the voice being one of them. I have a lot of women in my life who remind me to roar over the years. And I finally got it. Like, yeah, you know what? Yeah. So no longer do I say, is it okay if I go do this? I'm like, you know what? I'm doing this tonight at 8:00. I'll see you when I get back. And, I mean, and not from a place of, you know, screw you, from a place of this is what I need. So,
I mean, and it's okay. Like, it's really, truly okay that I want to get up and go to the bathroom.
Yes. And I've said this for years and years and years. We teach the people around us in the universe how to treat us by showing the example, by how we treat ourselves. And that is so true. And that's just what I think I've been born to live, to witness, to be around women who raised me that didn't do it, so that I can see the contrast of how painful it is when you don't do it. So even honoring yourself and taking the time to breathe and ask yourself the question and meet a need or request in your own time frame. It's okay. You know, take that pause of breath and say, you know what? I don't know right now. And that's okay. I'm going to come back to you tomorrow. Maybe I'll let you know. So that's a really powerful thing to do. And what a great thing to embody and to integrate and demonstrate to those around you too. And, you know, I don't know, I think especially with kids around, it's important to do it. Anyway, I can go I'm glad I have an hour to talk, Dory, because I can talk.
I have one more breath that I want to bring to the table.
Yes.
And it's It's not something small and quiet and private that you can do while you're sitting in your chair, but I will sometimes have far too much energy for that, and sitting quietly, breathing into my yoni, whatever, like it's just not going to friggin' cut it. So I'm in the shop. I'm going to have to make my dogs move. But it's the ha breath. Yeah. This is unplanned, so I don't exactly have my thing all organized. So you just stand nice and solid, Annie, this might feel more reasonable for you. So you stand nice and solid, hip width feet, well balanced, and you just inhale deeply, and I'm not going to smash myself on everything above me. And you're ready. And just let it all go, and let the energy fly off the end of your fingertips. Like you're just giving her. Breathe in deeply. And then,
I love that one.
isn't that fun?
Oh,
That's a great one.
Yeah, so I can see this being just perfect backstage.
Yes.
Maybe not in the middle of the audience, but I think it would feel great backstage just to get like that way excessive energy off of you.
That's a good one to do at breaks too, or to, in the middle of a long session or something, just to like get people up.
Yeah, it's very energizing. The studio owner where I work, she just did yoga for depression training, and she learned a similar version of that called Breath of Joy, which is my new favorite thing to do.
I love it. Breath of Joy.
You want a quick demo? Sure. Okay. Watch out, dogs. I've got ski boots above me and dogs on the floor.
I'm doing
So
it.
I feel like I'm conducting an orchestra. You go, so you do 1/3 of the lungs on each inhale. So in, and then ha. Right? So and you can do like 5 rounds, and it is so, I find it so joyful and energizing, and 1,000 times healthier than the mid-afternoon donut that some of us might crave.
I don't know what you're talking about. Oreos? Did you say Oreos? What?
But it's like, for me, it's got that same effect in the body of energizing and joy. You've just changed your energy channel. You like worked yourself right like that. Okay.
So
Very good. I love it.
Yeah, 5 of them in the office. You could do it anytime, but that would be a super fun one in breaks at the conference.
Yes.
To get
I love
started
it.
back up.
I love it. All right. Well, does anybody else have anything that they would like to contribute today in the way of breathing or otherwise? I see everybody taking deep breaths. This is awesome.
Yeah.
I think most importantly, I think it's just to remember that there is a real science behind it. In order to bring your voice present, to bring your energy present, like breath is universal energy, right? So to connect to it is to connect to your own sort of power. So I would just say play with it, have fun. This is just an example. I mean, there's so many more techniques for breath work. That even just a simple taking a breath with your hands on your belly before you, and do it now as you're practicing your speech. Practice what it's like to speak and then pause and breathe, speak, pause, breathe. And maybe become mindful of watching a few TED Talks or other talks. Lisa Nichols is someone that I watch religiously to like infuse myself with her energy. And you can watch her, you can just see her pausing and just like breathing. And I have actually, when I've taught workshops or I've taught in front of people, I've actually stopped and said, you know what? I think it's a good time for a breath. Everyone, even when I teach my long all-day virtual retreats, we stop for breaths all the time because I can just feel the energy getting like this in the room. And I'm like, okay, everyone, I think it's time for a breath. Stand up, out, take a deep breath. So even open yourself up to that possibility. And one of the best pieces of advice I've gotten in terms of teaching and being in front of people and being nervous. And I think this is probably what I witnessed at that conference that I saw was give yourself permission to be exactly where you are. If you get stuck, if you get lost, if you get nervous, you can just talk about it. So you know what? I think this is a really good moment to just remind ourselves how human we are and how vulnerable it is to be up here, and just how I want to show gratitude for you sitting there and giving me your time and attention. So let's just take a deep breath together and honor that gratitude. If you can be that present with yourself and be that present with the people, that's what they want. I mean, that vulnerability is what they're going to connect to, right? Like we talked about that last week, allowing yourself to get to that place. So if you're stuck in that moment and you need a breath, I guarantee you the people listening to you need a breath too. So invite them to breathe with you. And
that's what audiences are looking for now. Speaking has changed exponentially, and they are really looking at the audience. They are looking for real people. They want you to be vulnerable. They want you to be real. And if you need that moment, I encourage you, just as Elena said, to take that moment and bring them with you. Bring them with you. They want to go with you. Okay. Well, I think we're going to wrap up for today. We're going to not have a trainer meeting, training next Monday because it's Labor Day. And we're going to skip next Monday, but we'll reconvene the following Monday. So everybody here today, Tara, Elena, and Annie, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Again, this is Dory Ransom with Be Great and apparently Cowboy. Be Great, aligning business strategy with soul and spirit, and a cat and a dog earlier, and some beautiful speakers. Thank you. Mwah!